I just had this guy on the show and I don't know, maybe we really need to involve you a little bit.
I was just looking at some of the data here, and it says that in terms of income ignorance, according to a 2021 study by Fidelity Investments, nearly 40% of couples could not even identify how much their partner earned. It says, in terms of financial infidelity, surveys from Bankrate and creditcards.com consistently find that up to 40% of adults share that they have kept financial secrets, which is hiding cash, hiding bank statements, and hiding debts that they have from their romantic partner. So that's almost half. And you pointed at this earlier on, which is the CFO dynamic. In many households, one spouse acts as the chief financial officer, and research indicates that roughly 50% of couples have a non-managing spouse who has little to no idea how much money the family have total. They don't know where it is, and they don't know the passwords.
It can sound scary. It can sound intimidating. And yet I can tell you every day, people who actually kind of do this basic stuff that we've talked about, once you start to do it, you feel a lot better. You feel better instantly. You don't have to go from having no savings to having $1 million to feel better. If you just start automatically saving some money, paying yourself first, the moment you make that decision, you'll feel better. You go and you turn off some subscription fees like you just looked at. The moment you do that, you'll feel better. It's literally like a financial muscle. You start to build this financial muscle when you start to take action. It is action that changes your life. I always say, I wrote all these books. If a person buys a book, reads it, and doesn't do anything, then I was a form of entertainment. If you listen to a podcast on money and you don't do something, then we were, again, a form of entertainment. My purpose for doing this podcast today, why I got on a plane and flew out here immediately to do this with you, was I want to try to change somebody's life today. I've always taken the approach of I want to change a person's life, one person at a time. And sometimes the things I share are hard to hear, but I also know they wake people up. You had this great quote in this book. I was showing this today to my son. I'm holding, for those of you who can't see me, I'm holding Stephen's book, A Diary of the CEO, which has also sold millions of copies. And this is your quote on page 233. I wonder if you remember your quotes, because sometimes you forget them, right? If you want long-term success in business, relationships, and life, you have to get better at accepting uncomfortable truths as fast as possible. When you refuse to accept an uncomfortable truth, you are choosing to accept an uncomfortable future. The one thing that wasn't in this quote was money. And everything we're talking about is, I'm like, you're going to work 90,000 hours over your lifetime. If you don't pay yourself first and you have nothing to show for it, the uncomfortable truth is you will be broke. We haven't talked about global issues and government issues and debt. Why do you have to take care of yourself financially right now more than ever before? Because the future is about to radically change. And I will talk out of both sides of my mouth for a second. Number one, I believe the next 10 years, hands down, will be the greatest opportunity to build wealth in our lifetime. AI is going to create so much wealth that we've never seen anything like it. Like when you look at the returns in the stock market from last year, they're a result of AI. What's happening is AI is making companies more profitable and more productive than they've ever been. The downside is people are losing their jobs, right? You've had people on their show, including Tony Robbins, talking about this, and there are going to be a lot more of those job losses. So some people are going to get much wealthier, and then a whole lot of other people are going to have a challenge. But there's another problem that we're not talking enough about, and that is the safety nets of governments. All these safety nets that were created in the US, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, unemployment. You can go through every single country. All of these things are called entitlement programs, which is a fancy word for saying the government made a promise to you. And a whole lot of people are dependent on that promise. And there's not enough money to pay for those promises. So like in the US, you take Social Security. The average Social Security check right now is $1,900. Not a lot of money, but about 60 million Americans depend on that amount of money. In the US, Social Security, this is government data, not me. You can do all this stuff online. The government is telling us that in 2033, that's around the corner, that Social Security is going to be underfunded and they're going to have to cut the benefits. Now, what they're talking about is cutting the benefits by 20%.